So it's the time of year where you want to start some seeds indoors. But you've heard through the grapevine that you need to have a grow light. And this is true. I mean, the logic is sound. Plants need light, right? But what's the right grow light for my setup? Well, don't worry. We've all been in this situation before. And sometimes it can be a little challenging understanding which light is right for me because I know you're probably thinking, well, just go with the brightest light. Not necessarily. Bright doesn't always mean the best. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through. And yes, there are going to be some terms that are going to be new vocabulary words for some. And then for more of my experienced growers, you're like, hey, water off a duck's back, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down which grow light is actually the best for your plants. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the most expensive light. Oh, and by chance, if you're new here, hey there. The name is Gray. I am a Texas master gardener that has been growing for over 20 years, and I'm growing right outside of Dallas, Texas, in Zone 8B. Time of year right now is it's August, so it's a little bit of a Texas hellscape out there right now, and heat is not playing with any of us. But if you're looking for a gardener where you can get some good gardening information in a nice, chill environment where it's all about positive vibes, then consider me your guy. You know, some of my subscribers have called me the Bob Ross or the Mr. Rogers of gardening. And I guess it's just because I might be a pretty chill guy to hang out with. But hey, if you have questions, if you need a good gardener, make sure to hit me up in the comments and I got your back. But now let's get to talking about these lights. And now this video actually does come to us as a special request from one of my longtime supporters at Nephrolioness. Not to put your business out there on Front Street at Nephrolioness, but I know that she is looking to purchase some grow lights. And I told her, hey, hold on a second before you go and grow some, get some grow lights. Let me kind of break down in a video for you which grow lights is the best for your setup. So that way you can make an informed purchase without breaking the piggy bank, so to speak. And so being a former educator, the way we're going to break this lesson down is just like I would approach a lesson if this was my classroom. And, fortunately or unfortunately enough, you are all my students. So first off, our lesson objective. What I want, my goal for you by the end of this video, I want you to have a full understanding of what type of different grow lights there are, how they affect our plants, and how our plants actually benefit from them. And then you'll be able to make an informed decision on which grow light is best for your budget and then best for, of course, your plants. So to start things off, let's take a look at a tale of two seedlings. We have dinosaur kale and we have romaine lettuce. Both were planted about the same time. Now, granted, these are completely two different plants, right? We have, of course, our lettuce, and then we, of course, have our kale. But I want you to notice the stark difference in the growth habits. We have nice, tight plants here, and then we have long, stretchy plants here. What's going on here? They're both growing in a fairly bright and humid environment, but when compared side by side, dinosaur kale seems to be stretched out a lot longer and maybe leaning a little bit to the right. And I know there's already some of you already got those fingers happy, ready to tell me in the comments what's going on in that situation. But hold on. We're getting there. We're getting there. Put your hand down for now. Hold the questions for now. We're getting there. The point is that they're both getting bright light. Why isn't it bright enough for those plants to not be going through those two different growth habits? And so the key distinction here is that bright doesn't necessarily mean better when we're talking about lights for our plants. All right, so let's go back to that scenario where we're standing there in the big box store and we're seeing all these big, beautiful, bright lights with all of the lumens, right? Lumens is a word that we use to describe the visible light for our human eye in that ultraviolet light spectrum. So for our human eyes, that green yellow light that's inside that ultraviolet light spectrum is where our eyes are going to be more sensitive. So that's going to be brighter for us. But that's not necessarily the same way that plants see light. See, plants actually respond better to the red blue parts of the ultraviolet light spectrum. So even though we may be getting a nice bright light that we can visibly see, it's really not doing much for the scope of photosynthesis. And so our key takeaway here is that lumens is for humans. It's for our human eyes. It's what we can see. But for your plants, it's going to be something completely different. And I am a visual learner. I am a tactile learner. So I need to be learning by seeing and by doing. And so I have a visual aid here that's going to help me kind of clear the muddy waters, so to speak. So what we're really looking for our plants is going to be our PAR, or our photosynthetically active radiation, or our PPFD. And this is going to measure the actual light for photosynthesis that your plant needs. This is the actual intensity of the plant. Then next, we're going to be looking at our DLI, and this is our daily light integral. All this is the time necessary. So this is the total length of time that your plant needs under your PPFD or your PAR. So when we're talking about lights for our plants, that's why a lot of times we'll see grow lights have the word full spectrum. Now, of course, this is not the full ultraviolet light spectrum, but this is close enough because the full spectrum would, of course, include infrared and X-ray. But for the sake of our plants, a full spectrum grow light is going to have that blue and red that our plants definitely need for that photosynthesis. So I know I just gave you a lot to chew on in a short period of time. So feel free to go back to that visual, take a screenshot so that you can actually understand that and incorporate that in your daily life with your plants. Because this PPFD as well as your DLI, your daily light integral, it's going to matter not just for your seedlings, but if you're somebody like me that's going to love and grow and care for our ornamental indoor plants as well. Because a lot of times when we go to our big box stores and we purchase our plants that require bright indirect light, that doesn't really explain exactly what that tag means, right? It doesn't talk about your daily light integral that plant actually needs. So while your plant may be getting some bright visible light, the lumens, is it getting that full spectrum? And how long are they actually getting that light? So at this point, hopefully we have a now strong understanding the difference between lumens, PPFD, as well as daily light integral. Remember, your PPFD, that's going to be the intensity. How strong is the light? How much of that spectrum are we actually utilizing? And then your daily light integral is your duration. How long are you putting your plants under said light? So now that we have a grasp on that, now let's talk about what type of light is best for your growing situation. And now that we understand that, let's take a moment to talk about the different types of full spectrum grow lights that exist out there. But before I do, something interesting is that while grow lights are something that gardeners, farmers are starting to utilize, you know who had this figured out a really long time ago? Cannabis growers. Think about it. For the longest time throughout most of the country, cannabis was an illegal growing operation that was set up, usually in someone's attic or basement or something like that. But they figured out grow lights and full spectrum grow lights way before the rest of the industry actually figured it out, because they were kind of doing things very cloak and dagger style. But they had figured out grow lights well before the rest of us. But now, since they've done all that initial learning and kind of closed that learning gap, now we can all utilize this information. But we've talked about the different lights and the units of measure and so forth. Let's talk about bulb style. All right. Now there's three main type of styles that I'm going to talk about today, because those are the most commonly used. And now one that's right here in my hand, this is an actual grow bulb. This can easily be placed in any one of your sockets and used for spot on lighting for your plants. And now this grow light is actually manufactured by a company that I've worked with before. They are not sponsored in this video, but it's a company by the name of Sansi LED. Interestingly enough, in PlantCon Houston of last year, I actually had a great partnership with Sansi LED, and I was able to raffle and give away a lot of the grow lights that they offer at Sansi LED. Even though I'm not working with them currently on this video, they are still a good company at a good price point with good full spectrum bulbs. And the reason why I like their full spectrum bulbs is because they have these adjustable heads. And now again, these are more for my ornamental plants. I can adjust the light as I need and move it around so that my plants that like to trellis and climb, like my Monstera deliciosa, can get exactly the amount of light that they need without becoming too leggy and elongated at their petioles. And now the next light that I want to look at is our T style or our tube style. Now, this is a typical tube style type light. It's just actually standing vertically as opposed to horizontally. But this is a tube style lighting. This you'll know tube style because they'll always have a T before the number. So for instance, you'll see like a T8, or this would be a T36 or T48 actually, because it's 48 inches long. So T48 is what this bulb is right here. Again, this is still full spectrum, but this is the kind of light that if you need like a lighting bar to like very tall plants like I have with this Monstera deliciosa right here, I really wanted that light to be able to kind of cascade over the whole entire plant while still hitting some of my other plants off in the distance. And that T style, that tube style, is really going to give me that pattern that I want, that cone that I want to shine out to my plants. But now if we're talking about tube styles, one style that we definitely need to take a look at is going to be the typical tube setup that I have right here in this grow cabinet. Which, when we're talking about a seed starting operation, I really want to say that a tube style or something that's going to give you a nice width is going to be your best option because you can get the most plants in there per capita. And now the last and final that I want to talk about is going to be a clip-on. I look like something from Vincent Price or Michael Jackson's Thriller. The clip-on is going to be a good light if, again, we're going back to our ornamental plants and our house plants, because you can easily clip this onto a pot and then give that plant the exact lighting that it needs. But in a true seed starting situation, I really think that, again, this is my opinion. You make an informed decision on what works best for you. But I believe that a tube style, something that's going to give you a nice width, because this is only going to send out a cone. I mean, let's look at this light right here, right? If we see the light emanating here, it's going to have a very tight beginning or introduction or point of origin. That's the word we're looking for here. And then it's going to fan out in a cone shape. That's not really necessarily good for your plants, because if we have this, let's get a seedling. We're visual learners, right? Let's go with this black creme that actually just started germinating. This week. And if we have this light here, this is kind of the distance we want for our light. See, that's not really effective. I would need a clip-on light for every single seedling in this whole grow cabinet, and that dog just doesn't hunt. So in this situation, I think a tube would be better, because tube, you would get that full width that we really want for our plants. So when it comes to our grow lights, we do have a variety of options we can choose from. Remember, it's going to be either a bulb, or it's going to be your tube style, or it's going to be like your clip-on. Now, there are other variables, but I honestly have no experience using those, so I'm not really going to cover them. But at the end of the day, you do your research and figure out what works best for your setup and for your pocket. But now, with that being said, I will say that Fancy LED, and I'm going to put their website right down here at the bottom of the screen. Their price point is actually pretty good for their full spectrum lights. And the beautiful thing about their website is they actually do disclose the exact PAR and PPFD for each individual light, so you know how much intensity you have at your disposal. And so when it comes to grow lights, no matter what variation or what design model you choose or what price point you choose, again, make sure it's full spectrum and make sure that the amount of intensity that it has for its wattage is actually good enough for your plants. So far in this video, we've discussed lumens, PPFD, and DLI and how it correlates to our plants. Then we've also discussed the different types of bulb shapes that there are available for your plants to grow. And we know that full spectrum is definitely the way to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just talk a little bit about something I alluded to at the beginning of the video. And I know my eager viewers are like, oh, great, come on, let's talk about distance. Distance matters. When we're trying to set up our grow lights for our seedlings and for our growing operations, one thing that we definitely have to factor in is going to be the distance from the light in correlation with the actual seedling itself. When we're very far away from our light source, what happens with your plants is they start to try to stretch to reach that light. So that dinosaur kale that I was mentioning before, you saw how it was kind of leaning over. Well, the reason is because it's trying to reach up to that light. The light's not close enough. So what I need to do with this whole entire setup is I need to bring that light down so that it's closer to those seedlings. Because as we can see from the plant sets at the bottom, all of my lettuces and so forth, they're close enough to the light to still be able to get the length they need without stretching out and dampening themselves off. Now, I kind of misspoke there, but not really. So when we're talking about dampening off disease, when you're talking about your seedlings, this is when the plant grows up, gets tall and leggy, and then it gets really weak at the stem and leans over and die. There's multiple factors going on there. One, again, it is still the distance from the light source. It's really trying to stretch to reach that full intensity so it can get that photosynthesis it definitely needs. But also what's happening there is a soil or growing medium that's too moist, and it's creating a fungal issue. And those fungal issues, along with stretching for the light, just sets a like perfect storm for your plant, and they just lean over and die. So even though I kind of misspoke with the dampening off, it still does play a factor. So if you're having seedlings that are starting to get real leggy and long, but not really much vegetative growth, your light source is probably too far away. But then also the amount of moving air or circulating air around your plants in this situation actually can play a factor too, because that friction, that resistance that we get from the moving air builds up the strength of a stem so that it gets nice and strong and be able to handle it. That's why when we're starting our seedlings indoors, one thing that a lot of beginner growers, now I know my advanced folks, y'all don't do this no more, right? I know I still sometimes forget to, even though I'm like, do as I say, not as I do, right? Sometimes we forget to harden our plants off. We'll be growing them in this nice, perfect, ideal situation indoors. And then we're like, ooh, I'm ready to go transplant some plants. And we just want to take them right outside and start planting them. No, inside it's, usually what, between 72 to 76 degrees, give or take, depending on how your house is set up. But when we take them outside, they're at the full brunt of everything that nature has to give them. And that might be a little bit of too much of a shock of the system. And that's why a lot of your plants sometimes go into transplant shock. So the way we alleviate that is by hardening them off, or like some of my veteran subscribers here knows, my wife calls it play dates, plant play dates, where we sit them outside for a little bit. We sit them outside in the shade for a little bit, let them get used to the environment. Then we sit them outside in partial sun for a little bit and bring them back inside. And then of course, then we go full sun. So this is a whole like week to 2 week long process that you're doing with your plants, building up that resistance. But we've talked about a lot today, and I hope that this truly clears the muddy waters for you when it comes to which grow light is best for me. I know I could have easily just came out here and promoted like this light is the light that you need, or that light. I did want to put sponsorships on this video, but I felt like this needed to be a standalone video where it's just information. I did mention a product that I've used before in the past, and that's the thing about this channel. Look, when I tell you about a product, sometimes they're paying me, sometimes they give me the product free. And I usually disclose that in my description for FTC compliance. But in all reality, I'm never going to mention a product that I don't fully stand behind and have not fully used. So Sansi LED, it's a good grow light. And granted, they're not sponsored on this video at all, but it really is a good grow light. And the price point is not too bad. But now there are cheaper alternatives out there. For instance, the grow lights that's in this cabinet right here, these tube styles, I actually got them from Home Depot. And I think they were about $20 a piece, which is not bad. But are they as full spectrum and good PPFD as the ones that I get from Sansi LED? No. So at the end of the day, choose what works best for your grow setup and for your budget. But hey, it has been amazing speaking with you as always. I will talk to you again real soon.